When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs. We have a really fun show today because, I don't know, there's my guest, Erin Marcus, and I were talking a little bit before the show, and I just had a client that had emailed me yesterday and said, I really didn't do much today. Besides the few things that I did, I was so proud of the choices I had made. And I think it's still in our brain, like that we have to hustle, work hard. And if we don't, it's like we chilled out and we're not doing anything. And I think the thing that we're missing is that there are things that we can do that allow us the time to not have to hustle, that are smart things in business that really move the needle, but they don't take 12 hours to do. And so many people we find out there are doing what we call Insta-tactics. I kind of love that subject for today because there's no such thing as a single funnel that will earn you an entire year's sales goal with just one email. So you're like, but wait a minute, Colleen, you just said not to hustle. So we're going to talk about the balance between those two things today and the strategies that you can embrace. I think there's some strategies that you can embrace and align your unique strengths and objectives on how you do things. People think that I work so many hours a week. I'm on 2 nonprofit boards. I'm on the board here in my community. And my husband and I own 4 other businesses. And people are always like, oh my gosh, when do you ever sleep? And I'm like, I sleep great. And I actually don't even work 40 hours a week. So, we're still able to do everything we do. So you don't have to hustle. And that's what we're going to be talking about today on today's show. But before I get to Erin, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's show, Beyond Basil Mobile Pizzeria. We're passionate about bringing your authentic flavors of Italy right to your event, especially your weddings. Our mobile pizzeria is a culinary adventure on wheels where we craft artisanal pizzas using the finest ingredients and traditional Neapolitan techniques. Whether you're craving a classic margarita or looking to explore one of our unique flavor combinations, our skilled pizziolas are here to create mouthwatering pizzas that will tantalize your taste buds. With our commitment to quality and exceptional service, we aim to provide an unforgettable dining experience for every single one of your guests. So explore our menu, book out your next event, or follow us on Instagram at Beyond Basil Pizza, and get ready to embark on a pizza journey like no other with Beyond Basil Mobile Pizzeria.com. Thank you, Beyond Basil, for being today's sponsor of show number 170. All right, let's get into Erin because she is the founder and CEO of Conquer Yo Business. It's your, but I just said yo business. She helps entrepreneurs and small business owners get the financial and emotional freedom. I think emotions is a strong word we need to talk about today. Emotional freedom that they need to build a business and life they're proud of by learning how to be in charge, take action, and get results. She's been mentoring, training, teaching, and coaching for more than 20 years, and she loves helping people take action they didn't think possible, do the things they didn't think they could do, and succeed beyond what they dared to dream. Hello, Erin. Welcome to today's show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm now hungry and I sound so fancy when you talk like that about me.
We can make you look fancy and we can make pizza look fancy.
Hey, I'm from Chicago, so your definition of pizza and mine are probably different, but
very
pizza,
different.
Right? But here's the thing. 2 different types of pizzas, 2 completely different meals. I can have it for lunch and one for dinner and feel like it's completely, that's how I got through college, by the way. Yeah. Totally.
Mine was more like ramen noodles,
Well, yeah, there was that.
So Insta-tactics,
yes,
they don't work. Like I literally can remember so many times where people are like, well, I tried that and it didn't work. I'm like, so you did one thing and then it didn't work and you think that was it? Like, so let's talk about that because I don't think there's one single way. for an individual to sell a product or sell a service. And do you think that people do Insta-tactics because they're really just kind of, poking at all these different things to try and figure out what works? And this hustle thing, we've got to talk about that too.
It all goes together. It all goes together. So here's the thing. First of all, I don't think the tactics are bad or wrong. Let's just put this out there. I don't think any of the tactics that we see out there available to business owners are wrong or bad. It's just that they might not be right for your business, your stage of business, your strengths, your goals. So we're not making them bad. And the other thing is the people who buy those courses, those products, those I call it a one size fits all, soon to be obsolete tactic, right? Yeah. Those people aren't bad or wrong either. The way I describe it is they are in a position either due to lack of knowledge, right? Lack of knowledge, lack of experience, or buying into somebody else's story that makes them, I use the word susceptible. Mm-hmm. It makes the buyer, in this case, susceptible to the seller's marketing efforts. And it doesn't make those people wrong for marketing their product. We just need to be, and most people get there. It's just unfortunate how much time and money is wasted in the process. You need to be an educated buyer. And as a small business owner, watching everybody's highlight reels online, we think because it looks this way, that there's the just send this one email that leads to this webinar and you'll make $1 million. And what they don't say in their marketing is, well, yeah, but they sent $1 million emails first that made $0. Mm-hmm. They don't talk about the testing and the vetting and right. They don't talk about that in the marketing. Why would they? That's not what marketing is about. Mm-hmm. And so to me, it's a little bit of a heartbreaking situation because it frustrates wonderfully talented people who just don't know better or just want the dream so bad, right? They want it so bad. And the worst, more heartbreaking part of it is when you do purchase something like that and it ends up being the wrong fit. And like you said, it didn't work. You end up worse than where you were when you started. Because now you feel bad about yourself. How come everyone else, right? We start to think, well, how come it worked for everyone else, but it didn't work for us? But it didn't work for everybody else.
And I think there's different markets for different types of services too. So we need to first kind of identify that. And I use the example all the time of different businesses that we have. We have one business where everything is through Instagram. So anytime we show up on Instagram, anytime we're pushing videos, content out on Instagram, we get a flood of people to the website to fill out forms. And that's just one business of ours. If I tried to do that in my business and just show up on Instagram like I already do, I don't get a flood of people connecting with me, booking calls saying, hey, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. Like it's a different product. It's a different service. So you have to figure out also kind of what your niche is and who you're looking for. And so I love when we talk about those Insta-tactics because it does feel like a pitfall because it's frustrating because there's so many people out there and they're not fully exposing the whole process, like you said. So they're selling this one thing and they want you to buy into this one thing and you're like, I want it. And so it just doesn't fully work for us.
It's kind of like the difference between if you're having a health situation and you go to a surgeon, they're going to tell you you need surgery.
Because that's what they do.
Because that's what they know how to do. However, if you first go to a holistic general, right, someone who understands the big picture, they might offer you 2 or 3 options prioritize them according to what you can afford, what you're interested in doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can start down the road. And that's the difference between strategy and tactics.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to start with the holistic picture. The other thing reason this happens is people don't do the work before you go to work. You mentioned something very important. Because you've proven it to yourself that for one of your particular businesses, Instagram is the place to be. You did the work. You figured it out. You tested. You measured. You iterated. And you found it. And people don't do that part. It's part of, we used to call it our microwave society, but now I call it my Amazon society, because how ridiculous is it that I'm mad I have to wait 2 days for something to be delivered to my door and it's not on the same day delivery list? Like, this is what, really? I mean, I'm already paying half what I have to pay and I don't have to go to the store and I'm annoyed, right? But this is where we are. Streaming, everything in our world is so instantaneous that we have an abject meltdown when something doesn't work instantaneously.
So one of the strategies I heard you say was to test things out. So what are some strategies that you would say have worked that's not an Insta-tactic that you say tend to work for everyone? For instance, I would say if you want to get out there and meet people and get to know people and kind of get your name out, tell everybody about you and who you are, you probably need to network. That's one of the main things you need to do.
The main thing.
I agree. And I find that this is what I say to so many people. When you start a business, you have more time than money.
Right.
You have more time to network and meet people than you do clients. You don't have any clients. So when you start a business, you need to be out there telling everybody about you, meeting. Like, your whole schedule should just be filled up with meeting people and going to networking. And that is exactly how I have helped business owners build their businesses for 20 years and build my own businesses. That was one of the ways in one of our businesses we just got out on Instagram, was the way that we told everyone about us, because we knew our customers were on there.
Right.
Our customers were on Instagram. That's where they're looking for this service.
Right. And so here's why networking is where you start. And you can do it however you want. There's like 1,700 different ways to network, right? But first of all, the reason the Insta-tactics don't work is because, remember, I said your business isn't ready for them. And the way your business gets ready for them is by talking to other human beings about your business. This allows you to craft your message. Do people's eyes glaze over when you talk about your business, or do they ask you more questions? This is important information. You get to vet your offer in a very safe space. Do not practice on your prospects. There's some amazing networking places that'll give you a very safe place, soft place to land. People are there to help each other. I get that I'm a big old extrovert with a lot of energy and a big mouth, but I'm also only 5 feet tall. So it's easy for me to walk into a room. But if you're not, you don't have to do it that way. You can do Zoom networking, virtual networking. Everyone's the same size box. We're all the same size box. Pick 2 people to follow up with. Right? And how are people responding to you? How are they responding to your message? How are they learn from them? How are they talking about their business? When I first started my first business, much like you, I went to 10 networking events a month. And my goal was to follow up with 3 people per event. And that's how I got the franchise that I own to the top 10 out of 200 offices in 18 months. And here's the thing, I go back to it. When I'm launching a new thing, even within I did it this morning. I'm getting ready to work on a new thing. I went back to people. I'm not putting in the money and the hours and the resources before I even know if anybody wants this.
Yeah.
I went back to the people. And I think another reason people are susceptible or fall victim to some tactics that don't work for them is they're literally trying to avoid talking to other human beings and asking them for money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe we need to talk about that. That's a hard subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Money is a subject everyone should be talking about because it's the number one thing on everyone's mind all the time. Either you have enough of it or you don't have enough of it. If you don't have enough of it, you're constantly looking for more. And if you have enough of it, you're making sure that you still have enough of it and you can hold on to it
Exactly.
and that it doesn't ever run out. So no matter what, money is a thing. It is because we need shelter and we need food. I will tell you right now, if you didn't need money for those things, you would not wake up and probably go to work every day to earn an income. That you just wouldn't because you wouldn't need it.
It's hierarchy of needs. It's right. It's
absolutely
Psych 101, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have food and shelter, right, we can't get to self-actualization until we know we're safe.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna so age myself with this, and I don't even know.
We're all old. It doesn't matter.
I don't know if your audience.
I actually feel very, very young. I'm actually really, really healthy.
Someone thought I was 38 years old yesterday.
Wow.
I know.
Impressive.
I was very excited.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like 18 years off.
Yeah. I love it when I'm with my grandkids and they say like, oh yeah, well go grab mom or whatever. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not the mom. I'm the first one to be like, oh no, I'm not the mom. I'm the grandma. And they're like, what?
What?
But
so there was this movie.
Like, no way.
There was this movie. It was Andrew McCarthy, and I'm going blank on the other. It was one of the, it was a update. It was an 80s update on the Mrs. Robinson.
Got it.
Theme, right? Young, older woman, young student. Mm-hmm. And she's rich and he's a college student, poor. And they're on the roof of a building. And he had like $100 bill in his hand, and she took the $100 bill out of his hand and she threw it off the roof. And she said, "It's only money." And Andrew McCarthy goes, "Yeah, but it was my only money." Right? And the two things that will mess us up in this whole process, it'll have you buying the wrong tactics. It will have you scared to go to the networking event. It will mess up your sales conversations. There's two things. One is insecurity and one is desperation.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're nervous about what you're doing, it's going to come out.
Yep.
That's fine. We've all been there. Just keep doing it. You'll get past that. Just need a few wins. But if you're desperate for the sale or to figure it out or whatever it is, it just messes up your decision making.
It screws it up big time. Yeah. And I think unveiling this today has everything to do with why Insta-tactics and all of that doesn't work. So if someone's trying to sell you something, you're like, there's no way that works. That's probably the truth.
You're probably
There's
right.
no way that works. So don't fall for it. And we're here to tell you, because we're both working with individuals in business, that there is a process that you go through. And I love that you said we have insecurities, and that's okay, because as you have a few wins, just like my client that said she had 2 wins yesterday and she was just like, I felt so good. It was an instant change.
Right. And the best sales training I ever got, the best sales training I've ever had was it's part of it is in the book, Go for No. And that's way too much effort that I want to go through anymore. But when's the best time to make a sales call? After you just closed a sale.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just so excited. Yeah. And that energy is catching, right? That energy is, people feel it.
Permeates. And I think that's the thing. It's why on this podcast, I talk all about designing your life and not allowing your life to happen by default. So when we're talking about designing your life, we're talking about designing, for me, with high performance habits, peak performance habits. You're talking about confidence and motivation and energy and leadership. And when we're talking about those traits, what's so important about those is you have to drum up your own energy. You've got to drum up your own motivation. You've got to drum up your own confidence. And these things come within based on what you do. And most people think, well, I've got to get it from somebody else, or I have to go to a conference to get motivated. No, you don't. You can motivate yourself, actually. And there's steps and ways that we can do that daily. And I think when we become more self-reliant on those things and not rely on other people. When things like the pandemic happens and everyone's taken away, your structure is much stronger. Your mindset is stronger than someone that maybe relied on all of that, and then all of a sudden it was gone.
It was gone. And one of the things, and I get what I call very, very protective about my little safety bubble when I'm trying to make a change, do something different. And I'm in that mode right now. So one of the things that I have on a card in front of me, because I'm like super overachiever, right? I can't help it. Like if I'm going to go get an MRI, right? If I'm going to get an MRI, I'm going to sit stiller than any other MRIer than they've ever, right? We've got an issue, right? There's a childhood story in there somewhere. But so right now I'm trying to not fall into the overachiever trap as I'm making this shift in my business. So I literally have on a card in front of me, it's on my phone, it's everywhere. My intention is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a financial goal right now. I don't have a number of client goal right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I need my safety bubble right now to remind me why I'm making these changes on purpose with intention. So going back to the beginning of the conversation, so that I don't end up becoming susceptible to an old pattern, to something I'm trying to change, to somebody else's marketing. Not that anything is wrong with any of those. And that's, I think, really important. What we resist persists. This is not new information. So if I'm mad at the guy selling the tactic, if I'm mad at myself for previously making this decision, I'm still stuck. I'm still stuck. And so right now, my litmus test for my decision, does this free me up or tie me down? It's that easy. If this frees me up and I'm excited to do it, it gets to stay. And if this feels heavy and I don't like it, or it feels like work in any way, shape, or form right now. And what's crazy is everything I'm letting go is everything society would have you believe you have to do in order to earn money. And everything that I'm holding on to is everything society would tell you doesn't work. And yet it's leading to more money. You just have to be brave enough, right?
I 1,000% believe in that anything it is that you want to do will work if you believe in it. You know, I mean, I'm sure this has happened to you, but so many people have told me, you know, when I started doing my Empower and Elevate conferences here in Arizona, I do them every November, every March. Well, I have had several people say, why don't you turn it into a 2-day event? Well, I don't want it to be a 2-day event. I want it to be a 1-day conference. I love the way it runs. I wouldn't be able to hold everybody for 2 days. It would be 2 different people coming on 2 different days. In fact, I don't even want to come on Saturday because I want to go to my grandkids' games and dance recitals and gymnastics meets. Like, I don't want to go do that. And then, you know, why don't you have it at a different space? Maybe you should move it more central. Like, everyone has an opinion on what you should do. And I always go back to my own radar on it. And I think to myself, does this feel good, what I'm doing? Or do I have to, am I getting enough rumble? Is there enough rumble? Now, if everyone told me, wow, this space doesn't work, that's
right. There's a difference, right? There's a difference between market feedback.
That's right.
Because what you're doing is working.
Yeah. Because
if it wasn't working,
every comment I hear is, it's the best conference I've ever been to in my life. I'm not going to lie. This is the best networking event I've been to. I'm not going to lie. And it's like, I am so happy that you enjoy that. And I ask for feedback, but most of the time when people, you know, when you ask for feedback, their feedback is like, you should do this or you should do that. And it's always the same people. And it's I appreciate that, but I'm measuring it back to why I started these in the first place, what I wanted the outcome to be. And everything I have lined up allows that to be true and it to happen. And they don't know the behind the scenes of what I'm measuring everything to. So I'm like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's working well. Women are loving it. I'm not going to change it. It works perfectly.
And so what you're describing is learning self-trust.
Yeah.
And it, again, this, you know, and I can't say it enough because I'm sure I've screwed it up 800 times. The only way we get to where you and I are in our lives and our businesses right now is by screwing it up along the way, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you start to learn, how does it feel? Like, some people get a sign, some people hear a sound. I get a feeling in my chest versus my gut. What's a good decision? What's not a good decision? Trust yourself. And the first time I had an in-person event, there was a tech problem that lasted like 3 seconds, which is amazing because I suck at the tech. So how it didn't last an hour is beyond me. And the feedback somebody gave me was, I said, oh my God, the tech's not working for a minute. Give me 1 second. And we fixed it. The feedback I got was, you should never admit that there's a problem. And I was like,
I'm human.
really? There's never not a problem. Where do you get to live, right? Like, how do you get to live that way? Because I never don't have a problem of some sort.
I make jokes out of it. Every time I have a technology problem, I always say, and probably tomorrow someone's going to tell me Mercury's in retrograde.
Right.
So
I say I have my own personal Mercury in retrograde. It's just been 50 years in the making.
that just happened not too long ago. I did a podcast interview on Sunday and something happened and all I could see was like logos on the screen and I couldn't hear her. And I was the one speaking because she had me on the screen. And then it went to logos and I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe she's doing something or I didn't know, And then I'm texting her like, I can't see or hear you. She's like, try and go out and come back in. I came back in and she was there and we just kind of laughed about it. I was like, well, maybe Mercury's in retrograde.
This is how I know when I interview people, when I ask them on my show, like, let's share some things we've done wrong and shorten people's learning curves. The people who have been around the block are the ones who laugh and go, we don't have enough time for that.
Way.
Right? The newbies get nervous. The newer people are still nervous about admitting there's a mistake. We've all been there. But the people I can tell have been through it and are way on the other side. They laugh and like, well, we need 3 more shows for that.
Failure is, I've fallen forward in every failure and they become building blocks for my learning to do better, know better, change things up. There's so many programs I've started that I don't do anymore. I've even had programs that I've started over a year ago that kind of did okay, but then all of a sudden,
I've not sold more things than most people have gone to market with.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I believe that.
Think about, right? I have gone to market with more things that didn't sell than I've been in this business for 5 years. I have gone to market with more things that didn't sell than most of the people I know have been in business for 10 years have even tried. Which is why I am where I am and they are where they are.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm not afraid. And I think the message that we're really trying to send today is do the work, but you've got to do the right work.
Yeah.
You've got to do the right work.
There's no shortcuts. I think that's what it comes down to. And I wish
this world today, everyone's looking for a shortcut, Erin, because they're like, I want to become an influencer overnight on TikTok and then have all these products endorse me and, send me $1 million and put me on all these ads.
And here's the thing, like, if you look at the real gurus out there versus the pretenders, the people with actual, let's call it money. We're in the United States. That's how we, gauge success. Okay, fine. You're after money. That's great. There's nothing wrong with money. Gary V, Tony Robbins, Amy Porterfield. Like, if you look at people, Grant Cardone, God help me, but
Mel Robbins,
but okay,
another one.
Mel Robbins, yes. If you listen to any of them, the people who have actually achieved the thing, they will never lie about how hard they worked. None of them say, this happened for me in an instant. None of them say that.
You're an overnight success, 10 years in the making.
None of them say that. They are so transparent about the journey. And yet, people choose not to listen to that part.
I know. And the huge losses. I just remember even in the last book I was reading of Mel Robbins, I think it was her High Five book, she talked about her $250,000 investment, and then that was gone like overnight, and she'd already spent the money, and now she had to like give the money back. And then it was this whole
Gary V.
Yeah. Oh,
Right? Gary V, I saw one of his videos, pulled out of YouTube and went all in on a platform that's now completely defunct because they offered him ownership shares of it. He was the number one, like in the year YouTube came out, he was all in. He was doing amazing. He looks like a total dork in his video, which is awesome, which is amazing to see that piece of him. And he's like, lost millions of dollars because he made a left turn when he should have kept going straight.
He did what he thought was right at the moment. And that was a failure that he learned in the process now not to do again. And I love it when you go back and watch it videos from the beginning of time when people started and all of that. And I think it just goes to show the progression and the wisdom and the maturity and the length of time it takes to really be able to do that. And I tell every single client of mine and anyone that I meet, I'm like, you've got to push the ball up the hill for a little while. You don't start at the top and then just push it down and then that's it. And they just want to give up. Well, I don't understand why it's not happening. They just want to give up so easily or be swayed by what other people say. And I can't tell you how many millions of times people have said, well, why do you only work with women? Do you know you're cutting off 50% of your population of clients if you don't? And I was like, yeah, I don't really care.
Where I want to play.
It's who I work with. It's where I play.
And I mean, if I had to tell people, it's the resilience. It's there are no shortcuts. It's test everything for cheap before you invest any money behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Test it. So there's a million ways to do this. You can Google how to do this. Like test things for cheap before you throw money at it, before you throw resources at it.
Yeah.
And just the bottom line is, to me, can you be brave enough? That's what it comes down to, because it's going to take a different person than who you are now to get where you want to go. And that's probably happened for me 2 major times in the last 5 years, and probably a few little ones in there where I had to learn a different way to think. I had to learn a different way to maneuver through the world. I had to learn a different, what is that quote? I screw it up because it's an older quote, but this is the one I live by. Success is tied to how much truth you can see about yourself without running away.
I love it.
And the more you can embrace the horror, right? The more you can just
it's so true.
Embrace the horror and not let it throw you, and follow your heart and follow your instincts.
Yeah. I have a plaque that was sent to me. And now his Mike Michalowicz from Profit First. So my clients had reached out to him and said that I was helping them and coaching them through it. And he actually sent me like a care package.
He's a really
He's
nice
such a sweet guy. Yeah. Have you had him on your show?
I've actually got to see him speak, and I never expected him, after reading his books, I never expected him to be that funny.
Yeah, he actually is a pretty cool guy. I had him on my show, this show, and he sent me this plaque with coffee and like all this stuff. And it says, the biggest determinant of success is how determined you are to have success.
Yeah.
It's like the best. And I think we could just leave it today on that. How determined are you to have success? Insta-tactics don't work. Bravery works. Belief works. Determination works.
100%.
Yeah, they work.
And stop looking for shortcuts and just go meet more people.
Yeah. So Erin, I know you specialize in so much with your clients, helping them with not only their financial, but their emotional well-being. Where can we find you? Where's the best place for them to go?
Make it real easy for you. So Marketing 101, single call to action, make it easy for people. Right? Just if you take nothing else away from this conversation, Right.
You can
If
go to my LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook.
Right, oh, please. Here's my phone number because I'm going to remember that. I don't know my brother's phone number at this point, right? Thank you, iPhone. Conqueryourbusiness.com. It is all there. It's at conqueryourbusiness.com. You can get me. You can get all the socials. You can get my podcast, conqueryourbusiness.com. It's all right there.
It says it right in the title. Conquer Your Business is exactly what Erin Marcus is about. And I'm thrilled to have you on here today. That was a fun conversation.
Thank you.
And you can never not get honesty when you put Erin and I together. Ever. We are the most honest people, brutally honest, because I think that's what it takes. And if you are struggling with that today and you're uncomfortable with the brutal honesty, then you need to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself why. Why is it uncomfortable for me to hear all this? Why is it uncomfortable for me to know that I've just been chasing around all these kind of Insta-tactics and trying them? And I just think that, maybe I should go back and get a job. I hear that a lot. I should just go back and get a job. Well, if that's where your energy is focused, then go focus your energy on getting a job. And if that's where you feel safe, then go do it. I don't think entrepreneurship is for everybody, but I would never want to ever give up my freedom of being a business owner, and I pay way higher taxes than I did when I worked in corporate America.
Well, today. And this is a great thing. Who did I hear say this? I can't remember. It's not my quote, but this was the gist of it. In order to be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to be more interested in who you can become than what you need to do.
Ooh, I love that.
I know.
Who you need to become rather than what you need to do. I love that. Who you need to become. I love that. I'm going to remember that. I'm writing that one down. Everyone write that down. Who do you need to become? Focus on that, not the things that you have to do. Focus on who you need to become. I love it. All right. Listen, all of you out there, you're the only you that's ever been. We know. You're the only you that's ever going to be. So who are you going to become? Where's your belief? Where's your bravery? What are you planning on doing? And I will tell you, along that road, get yourself a mentor, get yourself a guide, get someone that's already walked the path, has paved it out for you, and can help you really be able to shortcut a lot of those pieces that you might be spinning your wheels on for years because you just don't know. And I do think there's knowledge that helps with that and wisdom that helps with that, especially if you've never done it before in the past. And there's also a lot of pitfalls that come. So when someone's like, yeah, don't do that, that's not going to work. Let me tell you why. Maybe you need to listen to someone who has a little bit of wisdom. So, Erin, you were amazing. Thank you for being on today's show. You're a rock star, as always. And to all of you out there, thank you again for making us the top podcast. And I just really love bringing on guests every week that are just as amazing as Erin. And until next time, never forget, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery, where you learned the tools to create a life by design. Remember, you are the only you there is, and you are the only you that will ever be. Be you and be strong, because you are brilliant, and the world needs you at your best. We cannot wait for you to join us again next time.